everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. And you are looking live from the Netherlands. Yes, the Netherlands. You see it in red? It is the Netherlands. Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Morgan-Roth, thinking I'm Brent Musburger. And yes, we have Amsterdam somewhere on this crazy.
We are live.
Yeah, and I'll ruin my intro here, Jacob. You know better than that. Otherwise, I'm going to tack on another minute, and you'll be on 61 minutes instead of 60 minutes. So now you're messing up, so I have to let everybody. You are looking live from the Netherlands here in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Who cares? It's Amsterdam. But I'll be damned if I'm going to let Jacob Christopher ruin it tonight as we get ready for the debut of Ryan and a lot of other interesting topics, to say the least. Ryan, introduce yourself. And remember, your first show is in the Netherlands. I'm going to tell you what, you don't even need a passport for this show tonight, my friend.
Well, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Ryan, also known as TBK, the Baltimore Kid. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that. Scott absolutely set me up, but I'm glad to be here, glad to join you guys, and hey, I'm ready for anything. Let's go.
Well, where you'll get plenty on this show as you keep coming back every Wednesday night. Mark my word, you'll never see a show anything like I put this bad boy together. If you want to, and quick. And Chris Pizza Man here is evidence of that, right, Chris?
That's it. I look forward to it every Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, we look forward to having you every Wednesday. We got the Pizza Kid and the Baltimore Kid. My goodness.
There you go.
And George Eichhorn, I got big plans for Mr. Sports.
Hi. Good to be back.
He'll either be on baseball or this show, but he's definitely going to sports rap pretty soon, permanently. And, of course, we have Jacob 60 Minutes Christner.
Well, no, since you had to be Brent Husberger, I'm going to be Jakey the Greek.
Okay,
and I'm going to be Jakey the Greek, and I'm going to pick Minnesota -3 on Monday night over the Chicago Bears.
Look at this guy.
He can't wait. He's already
doing that. Yeah, I can see the Caleb Williams hatred already. All right, and last but not least, our statistician, Candy Ebling.
It's great to be here. I never know what to expect on this show, so buckle up, and we're on for a ride tonight.
Oh, Nelly, in the words of Steve Jackson. Boy, I'm bringing in all these broadcasters. I'm in a broadcasting mood tonight. That's why we're doing this stuff, right? All right, well, you know what? I'll tell you who's made a lot of money in his career. His name is Roger Federer, who officially became a billionaire. His net worth is now $1.1 billion. Why do I mention old Raj on tonight? Because we talked about him last week. Katie Ebling. Roger Federer, $1.1 billion man. What are your thoughts about Mr. Tennis?
Great for him. You know, you think of tennis and you don't always think of the millionaire, the billionaires, because they don't make the money that some of the other sports do, although their sport has caught up and has, but you know, he was it for a long time. He was on top of his game, and you wanted to be him. You wanted to, have his abilities that he had. Like he was just very, very talented. We've been blessed with some really good talent in tennis, and he was one of them that stayed on the top for a long time.
Okay, Ryan, bringing you in. All right, about Mr. Federer. Some thoughts about the man with the golden racket.
Yeah, I mean, because of Scott, I'm getting an education tonight. I'm just now learning that tennis is a sport. No, I'm kidding. Good for him. I mean, if you excel at your sport, you deserve to be paid for it. So, kudos, Mr. Federer. Like, I got to be honest with you, my tennis knowledge goes as far as Venus and Serena. Of course, I know who Roger Federer is, though. But hey, good for you. Spend that money on something great. Get a new racket or a couple.
1,000.
Yeah. Well, all right. Now that you spoke up, you're next.
Well, one of the things is, here's a little bit of a trivia of how that billions happened. Nike during 2017, 2018 wanted to go in. They were basically looking for newer people, so they wanted. It was a lot of the time right in the middle of the whole. It was just before it though, but it was the whole middle of the thing. They kind of wanted to go DEI a little bit, so they wanted to drop Roger Federer's money. They wanted to drop his money. They wanted to drop all that kind of stuff. So he leaves and goes to Uniqlo, $300 million, but they don't have a shoe line. So he invests in a little shoe called On, which I got a pair actually. I've got a pair. He invests in On. Because of those two, in 7 years from now, he became a billionaire. All because Nike wanted to drop the money he was making. So the thing is, Nike makes so much they don't notice it themselves. But there's stupidity you can have right there, because he could have been a billionaire with them too.
George,
Congratulations, Roger. He's had a long, illustrious career on the courts. And if anybody deserves it, it's him. As Candy said, it is a very, very difficult sport to make a lot of money in. If you're one of the top ones, of course, they're in the million range every season, but they don't stay there very long. Remember, it's tennis. You're starting out really at a young age. And so you're peaked out by, mid-20s, most of them, maybe to 30. So when you talk about Roger, you put him in the same category as our own Serena. And, as far as being wealthy, so to speak. So he's done a lot, though. All those Grand Slam titles, all those wins he got, all the promoting of the sport, all the more power to him. He's always been a gentleman off the court as well. So anyways, enjoy the money or spread it out. Throw some our way, too, if you can, Roger.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, it is refreshing to see a billionaire with tennis of all sports. You see him in a lot of sports, but tennis, you just don't see it a lot. All right, Pizza Man.
Yeah, I think Candy said it right. Like you don't expect to hear a tennis player making that kind of money, but they do. It's an international game, obviously, so they're playing everywhere. So I guess that has that plays a huge part of it. But yeah, I mean, the guy lasted forever, and he's been great his whole career, right from the beginning until right now at the end. The guy's always been competitive. I mean, how many players in any sport can say they've been in a sport for, almost 20 years and been this competitive all those years? So, I mean, hats off to him. Obviously, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, if not already. I don't know how that works for tennis, but he's definitely one of the greatest.
All right, since we brought the Baltimore kid on, we have to make him feel at home with this topic. So I'm going to do exactly that. I got some Baltimore topics in here, TBK, but I'm going to spread them out throughout the broadcast. The Ravens replaced the $8 million that Derrick Henry was due to make this year with $25 million fully guaranteed through 2026 and a non-guaranteed $12 million for 2027. What do you think about this thoroughbred that you have called a running back, Ryan?
Oh man, Derrick Henry was absolutely born to be a Raven. I mean, the Ravens survived on two things up until just recently. That was their run game and their defense. This guy was born and bred to be a Baltimore Raven. Derrick, I'm so sorry you had to spend all that time in Tennessee, but we're more than happy to have him here. I mean, when you have a guy who in his first interview comes on and he goes, I feel like my career was always meant to end up here. You got a good one. Can't say enough about him. Looking forward to the year he's going to have this year. And I wonder if this could be the year that a running back wins the first ever league MVP.
All right, me Gumbo, Gumby, whatever.
Listen, yeah,
I'm trying to get that down.
I'm just going to add to what he's saying. I mean, listen, last year they signed him, and me and TBK talked about it on our show the other night. Basically, to be that bell cow or whatever in the playoffs, right? Ride them all the way into the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. And for some reason, in the Buffalo game last year, in Buffalo, windy, kind of snowy, cold, game, they stopped in the second half. So I'm hoping for Baltimore, especially for TBK, that they actually ride this guy in the playoffs the way they should. Let him carry you into the playoffs. Don't worry about having Lamar Jackson, have to make a big throw. Use Derrick Henry. This is a guy that you could give him 25, 30 carries in the playoffs and carry you right into hopefully the Super Bowl, right? Because that's the one thing that's missing from, Lamar Jackson, from Derrick Henry. two of the greatest players that are playing now, right? 2-time MVP, Derrick Henry, probably the greatest running back that's in our era right now. That's what's missing is a Super Bowl. And that monkey on that back is getting bigger and bigger every year that they don't win it. So let's see. Maybe it's this year. I mean, they got arguably the best team on paper coming into this season from the AFC.
George.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, this kid is phenomenal. 1,921 yards rushing last year. And like you says, even though he had a great year and Lamar over 4,000 yards passing, they still couldn't get over the bump. They could not get, and so the same for other teams as well. I'm not just picking on Baltimore, but Derrick Henry is sensational. It's one of those things where these guys have been around now several years together. They got to get over that hump and get into the Super Bowl and win one. And I'm sure Baltimore is going to try their damnedest to do that. But yeah, he deserves his big contract. He deserves his accolades. Derrick Henry's one of a kind. I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best in the NFL. I agree.
Okay, 60 minutes.
Well, the only worry I do have with Derrick Henry is about 2-3 years ago. It's like, I believe, no, it's maybe 4 years ago, he had that foot problem. And the thing is, he is getting older. And I just do wonder how much longer before that starts throbbing up just a little bit again. But I mean, that's not a thing against him. He is a beast. He is a beast. Make no mistake about that. The big thing about it I would like to see Baltimore do is, and I mean, mind you, you got to understand, TBK, when he was at Louisville, when Lamar was at Louisville, I saw him as a much better Michael Vick. Much better.
For sure.
Just his ability to read the field, read everything was just way more. It's not even close.
Right.
But the big thing with him is I think he was anchored by Roman to me. And I'm just going to say this because I always called Roman Tecmo Bowl Roman. Because he had to play the same 4 plays all the time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and he had the same things because he had and it's all fun in the regular season, but then you get a Tennessee and you get all these teams that could just put a spy on him and he's dead. Then he passes and then that's that. I would really, really love to see if they're going to do something different this year. What John Harbaugh would do this year, I would really love them to see if he's healthy. I'm talking about Derrick Henry. Go a dominant with Derrick Henry, who's the number 2 right now for the running back?
Justice Hill.
I thought that was a number. Okay, so he's number 2. I was thinking, who's number 3 on that?
Keaton Mitchell.
Thank you. But either way, Justice Hill. I'd like to see a nice threesome of those 3.
I agree.
And I'd like to see a nice threesome of those 3, the majority of their plays. And I'd like to see 15, 20 passes a game with. I'm just saying this is for winning.
Yeah.
This is for winning. 15, 20 passes a game for Lamar. Seriously. Because, get that run game. He can run a little bit. Don't run as much. Use that amount. Do a lot of bubble screens. Win games. Quit worrying about everybody. Quit worrying about your highlights.
Absolutely.
All that kind of stuff. That's what I'd like to see with them because I think that's going to get them over the top to get to the Super Bowl if they do that. But if they keep trying to have him look like he needs to be on TikTok and do all the big highlights, they're going to lose again.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the big problems with us is losing our identity in big moments, big games, like in the playoffs, especially. Me and Chris were talking about it, and Harbaugh specifically said he was like, "Look, we didn't sign Derrick Henry for the playoffs," and it's like, I mean for the regular season. Sorry, and it's like, okay, well, if that's true. What happened in the playoffs, John? What did you do?
Right.
You know what coaches do, TBK? You know what they do? And I can say this with Cubs and Council, you overthink.
Yeah, for sure.
They overthink things instead of just saying, oh well.
Right.
Just swing. Yeah, at this point, that's what I'm saying. That's what they do, and that's what it's someone like John Harbaugh has been around long enough. He just needs a swing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here's who Derrick Henry reminds me of. A guy by the name of Earl Campbell. And I mean Earl Campbell. My only hope with Derrick Henry is he doesn't succumb to the injuries that whereas dealing with Earl Campbell, ending up in a wheelchair with the Houston Oilers. That's my only thing.
Mhm.
Earl Campbell was a punishing runner. I remember what he did to the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day, where he'd run this ball down their throats. And I mean, Derrick Henry is punishing. And I do believe that John Harbaugh is right. We need this guy here for the postseason to get us over the hump. Lamar Jackson is sick and tired of being the bridesmaid. And obviously, I do believe that Derrick Henry is the guy that can get
At
him
this
over there.
point in time, he's not even catching the bouquet.
Yeah, but here, let me say this though. The one point that I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of is the Baltimore Ravens are going out there and demonstrating enough class to reward this guy. And when we broach this topic on Inside the Pigskin, Melfar Jr. and our other athletes on there were just glad the guy got his money. If you're a running back, that's an undervalued position, is what it is. All right, Candy, you the last one here?
I am.
Good. Go ahead.
King Henry, noted for his success at every stage of his career. He is the only player that has rushed for at least 2,000 yards in a season at the high school, college, and professional level. He was actually born in Yulee, Florida. He set the national high school football record for career rushing yards with the Yulee Hornets, breaking Ken Hall's record that had stood for almost 60 years. He was a 5-star recruit. He played college football at Alabama, where during his junior season, he broke Herschel Walker's single season college rushing yards record. So he's done it at every level. So why not, like TBK, like you said, why not? He could be MVP this year. They just got to give him the ball and he's got to run with it. Literally, a running back, run with the ball. Give it to him. I mean, part of it is you're as good as your O-line is too. So your O-line has to stay healthy for a good running back to really get there. But Baltimore is built for that success. So
let's see how it all starts this weekend. All right, let's move on. Former University of Michigan President Santa Ono lands a new job. Ono left the University of Michigan in May after less than 3 years on the job to pursue the University of Florida presidency. He didn't get. He will lead Ellison Institute of Technology as a global president of research, founded by software module Larry Ellison, which this company does happen to have 2 branches in LA and Oxford, England. George Eichhorn, you can start off. We broke this story here on the Sports Exchange, and now there's a follow-up that Santa Ono has a new job. Did a pretty good job at the University of Michigan, and it's all the thing, and that led the was part of the Wolverines title. So under Jim Harbaugh. So go ahead, George.
Yeah, and Ono is a big sports enthusiast. I mean, he really wanted to see that program take off, and in the short time that he was there, it did take off. Either some of the things that were a little bit illegal, as we now have found out. Ono himself, I mean, he's in the middle, caught in the middle of these protests, these demonstrations, really hurt him on the political side. I'm not going to go into that, but from a standpoint of an intelligence and diversity, and again, his enthusiasm for sports and athletics and seeing that role at a college level, I mean, he really did a great job. I'm glad he's got a new job. I know it wasn't what he wanted, but he was smart in taking something, and I'm sure that tech job that he's in now is going to use the best of his talents. So, yeah, that's basically, I mean, it's basically a wash. I mean, he did not get the college job that he wanted, but he sure ended up with a big tech company.
Yeah, I actually wonder how it's all going to end up playing out down the road with the University of Florida, how their athletic department is. I thought that could have been good. Hire. Hi, Matt G. Good to see you on tonight. Appreciate you being on. So I really wonder down the road, and I'll see the Gators take on the Miami Hurricanes in a couple of weeks over at Hard Rock Stadium. I'm not going to ask them about it. I mean, what's done is done, but still, you wonder about the what-if factor. All right, Jacob, you're pretty outspoken about these matters. What are your thoughts about Santa Ono over at a tech job after he left Michigan?
Well, and that's going to happen. He wanted the educational jobs, but after what happened there, no one's touching that. No way. Not right now. Maybe this is the truth, and maybe if the other party made it in office, he would have. But they're not going to do it. Not a chance. Not right now. Not when there's so much war between the academia and the government at this point in time. The current one as we speak. The thing is with this tech job that he's at right now. This is probably a lay low until the quote unquote right. The correct type of party comes in for him, then he can come back. I really believe that's what he is, a lay low, is because he wasn't going to make it. Not after what happened in Michigan. He wasn't going to go anywhere, and no one's going to hire him. So the tech job will make him money. It'll make him a lot of money. He'll have a little deal, and then he'll either lay low for a while or he'll retire, depending how long it takes. But this was just a bad time for him to try to get anything educational at this point in time with the wars that are going on.
Good points. Okay, Chris, you want to take a stab at this one?
To be honest, I don't know the story, so I don't want to try to get into it.
Okay,
I'll be honest.
No, that's why I asked you if you wanted to take a stab at it. No big deal.
I appreciate it, though. Thank
you.
There
are some topics that most people aren't familiar with, and if they want to take a stab, fine. If they don't, I have zero problem saying I'll pass, and that's okay. What about you, though, Ryan, based on what you've heard from a couple of other panelists here?
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with Chris here. I don't really know the story. I mean, I understand Michigan has a super great winning football culture. So to leave that school, taking a risk, going to another school, I mean, I don't know the reasons behind it, but I wish him success. Good luck. That's all I can really say.
That's fine. Okay, Candy, go ahead.
Part of when he tried to go to University of Florida, he actually sat in. It was a 3-hour long meeting between him and the Florida Board of Governors. The Florida Board of Governors actually voted 10-6 to reject the hire, and it had a lot to do with some of his discussions that they had in that. And if you want to read up on that, you can. But I can see where you were a research guy, and that's kind of why you were going to some of these different places. So now you decided to take your talents to the United Kingdom. I mean, he's going to Oxford City in England. So it's a private limited company. He's going to be president of their global division. So he's taking what he probably did a little bit in Michigan and now really do it on a global, but he's not going to have as much of his hands tied, because let's face it, in education, you have a lot of rules that you got to abide by, whereas now maybe in the private sector, he doesn't have the same type of rules. So he's only 62 years old. So I don't know how close to retirement he is. I don't know how much money he's made or how comfortable he is in that setting. So, but kudos to him for going into the private sector and using his knowledge for good, because let's face it, in this day and age, there's a lot of people that aren't. So
I enjoy these requests. I'll be more than happy to honor them. Matt G, my friend, says, can you give a shout out to my fiance, Gabe Horn? There you go, Gabe. Matt wants me to give you a shout out. So Matt, I wish everybody with you guys a big time congratulations here on the network. Thanks for tuning in, Matt. And if you could please go ahead and spread the word that your friends here on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network YouTube channel, as well as Sports Exchange, please spread the word about our shows and have them also kindly subscribe. But congratulations to you and your fiance, Gabe Horn, and I hope you all have a wonderful life together. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. All right, with that said, I'm actually happy for Mr. Ono that he did land someplace else, because it was an unfortunate ending at Michigan. You hate to see you're going to take a job, you get rejected, and all of a sudden you have nothing. But it sounds like he landed in a very good spot. With that, I transition over to Pundit. Jacob Christner, the floor is yours.
Perfect thing tonight, because we were talking a little bit of politics without getting without getting there. But this, I'm going to say a nice little hello there to Jason Whitlock. Yes, we got to talk again, and Kristen knows what I'm going to be talking about here. Yes, I'm gonna bring this part up. You brought up a little deal about Alabama. It was a whole deal. The title was stupid. The Alabama's 2 to win, something stupid. Stupid, dumb, but here's the thing. The whole gist of it, and I watched it and lost about 10 brain cells doing it. But this is the thing. You said that they have Ryan Williams, who has an anxiety doll, who's got his fingernails painted, who's got all that stuff. But you know what you did? You brought all of this up. You brought it all up right after they lost. Right afterwards. You know what that's called? Low-hanging fruit. I didn't hear this from you or anybody else with that fact whatsoever. He is the best player on their team. He has his own issues. He's got those craziness and things I don't agree with. But that's low-hanging fruit. And that's what you are. That's why I don't like you, Whitlock. You're low-hanging fruit. The big thing, what has made me, maybe I don't have your people that watch you, whether you hate or like. There's one thing that people have understood, and I've counted 24 different shows, whether it's been full-time or guest. The one thing that people understand about me is I don't do low-hanging fruit. That's what Scott likes about me. I don't do low-hanging fruit. I say things like 4 years ago, I said Jacob deGrom, I didn't think he'd win 100. And right now he's 37 years old and about 95 wins. And I said that when they were comparing him to Bob Gibson. 15 years ago, I said the reason that James Harden will never win a ring because of him. Any team that takes him will never win a ring. I said that 15 years ago. Keep going. You want to know now? People are saying that and they're following me. And everybody knows what I was with Caleb and Justin Fields and all that kind of stuff. I don't have to go through that part. I say it enough. This is the thing, though. Yours is low-hanging fruit. You're saying it after the thing and when it's there. You won't say this stuff if they would have won that game. The biggest thing that I want to do and I want to say and stuff like that all the time is I'm going to take my chances. Remember, I took the chance, Candy. I took the chance with Jordan Love and lost. You know, I said that they weren't going to win with it and do all that stuff, and I lost on that. But I'll take that chance. I've won more than I've lost. And that's the big thing. This is where you, Whitlock, are the problem, just like a lot of other people with the media. It's low-hanging fruit. It's going after the fact. No guts to take the chance and say something. And say all that, or if you do take a chance, you take a chance acting stupid, which is a complete stupid, kind of like Skip Bayless. They do those things. One of the biggest things here for one time in our lives with media. How about, and I'm talking about the big names, ESPNs, the Foxes, all that stuff. How about we take a chance?
Right.
We take a chance, we get out there, quit the low-hanging fruit. Because you're saying to your audience that they're dumb also.
Right.
And that's my thing for the night.
Well, you know what I like about your take, though, Jacob? And I utilize this philosophy a lot when I try to determine topics and make decisions. You have to have a gunslinger mentality. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a gunslinger mentality, you don't take a chance, you're in trouble. Well, good poor take. So I'm going to ask you another question, though, Jacob.
Sure.
I saw you something on Facebook, and you talked about on Max Johnson's job now. UNC QB Gio Lopez did not complete a pass for 128 minutes. And this is only your topic, okay?
Yep.
I want you to clarify what you were saying there.
Oh, I mean, the big thing about it is they did a drive. They had a drive without him. The original quarterback, I forget his name for a second, but I remember the deal. They did a whole perfect first drive for a touchdown without a completed pass.
Gio Lopez.
Yeah, Gio Lopez, thank you. They did it without a pass completion. He didn't have a pass completion for 128 minutes.
Right.
And then they went to Max Johnson and things got more comfortable. So I think it's going to be his job. But I think that's going to be his job, especially when he does not want to be a 5-7 coach. He does not want to be a 5-7 coach, Bill Belichick, not in his first year, especially when a lot of people think Tom Brady is the reason for his success.
Right. Well, face the reality, they're paying $4 million for a guy getting NIL money, and right now he's hurt.
Yeah, I understand.
$4 million in NIL money.
Right.
I saw you mention that, so I figured I'd give you like a pundit plus one. So you got two for the price of one. I'm glad you brought up the thing about Whitlock. I never cared for the guy in the first place. So
Yeah,
to me, I
exactly.
think he's a bunch of. I don't have any liking for the guy at all. With that said, we'll continue on. We'll stay on the Bill Belichick thing. And here's why we'll do it, because he's obviously allowed the most points with New England with 47 versus Bills in 2021, and of course North Carolina with TCU in 2025 in that big loss there. So here's what you've got. Okay, Bill Belichick debuts in the NFL and college football on September 1st, 1991. The Dallas Cowboys thumped them 26-14. And he was coaching for the Browns. And then September 1st, 2025, TCU crushes North Carolina 48-14. I guess if you're Bill Belichick, okay, September 1st isn't a day that you really particularly care for. So, Ryan, what are your thoughts about Bill Belichick and his inauspicious start in the pros and the college? And we can talk. I'm not going to say how he's going to do his first year. TCU was a tough first act in the first place. But when you think about it, 47 points with New England was the highest, and then it didn't take him long to surpass it in college. One game versus so many other games there. Let's talk about Bill Belichick's first act, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much like Jacob said, this is a guy who I got to agree. It's very, very easy to say that, yeah, he got a lot of his success because of Tom Brady. But I mean, Bill's Bill, right? He had his career, he had his fun. Me personally, Bill, you should have just enjoyed retirement, buddy. You got yourself the nice little arm piece. You got a bunch of Super Bowl rings. Have fun, enjoy yourself. Now you're back in media attention for getting your hind parts whooped in your first game. It's not a great look. Like I said, if I was Bill, I just would have been like, hey, I did my thing. I've got the rings to prove it. I'm just going to enjoy my time off. But I'm not Bill, so I guess I don't get to make those decisions.
Listen, I'm happy he took the North Carolina job because he was just a few wins away or so from eclipsing Don Shula, and Don Shula's record is safe, and I'm glad stay in North Carolina, Bill. I don't care what you do there. All right, Candy, you can talk about it right now because obviously we talked about it before. So reiterate your thoughts, or unless you have a few additionals, go with it.
Well, Bill Belichick decided to come to North Carolina pretty late in the game. If you think about it, transfer portal and stuff like that, for him to have gotten all the good guys, he would have had to, say it earlier on. So he came in late. So he got the best that he could. And it shows like that a good coach can make players really good, but there's elite players out there that he just didn't get. And even a good coach can't make a good player an elite player. So, the talent that he had, he's going to do the best that he can. Yes, TCU had a good team, had a good coach. The other thing is he didn't start coaching them spring game and way back where some of these other coaches are starting to do that. We look at, and I know Carson Beck is different, but
Right.
Carson Beck was in Miami in spring. He wasn't practicing because of his injury, but he was there. He got to see how the coaches interact with players. He got to start. And one of the things you got to do, we talked about this the other night. North Carolina has 70 new players on that team. It takes a while for those guys to gel together and to be able to learn each other and get into sync with each other. It's not the same New England team. In the pros, you don't turn over guys as much as you are in college. College is going to be a different game for Belichick. The other thing is how many coaches can coach in both pros and college and have success. Some of them are very successful in one and not the other. Very few were successful in both. I'm done.
Chris?
Yeah, my biggest question with Belichick is, okay, he wants to come back and coach. Obviously, it wasn't working in the NFL. Nobody wanted to hire him because, right, he wanted too much control over the roster. He wanted to be the GM as well, right? And I think he proved in New England that that's not his forte, especially now the last few years. The problem with going to college is with all the nil money and these guys jumping ship every year, it's going to be really hard for him to install, his way with a kid, because he's only going to get him maybe for 2 years at the most, right? Probably only a year. These guys stay at college and then they move on once they get a better offer. So my thing is, how long is he going to stay, especially at his age? How many more years is he in this for to coach, right? Is it going to be a 1-2 year thing? Maybe. I mean, that's my whole thing. I don't know. I can't see him being that good there. I'm not going to write him off. And I think he's one of the greatest head coaches around, one of the greatest defensive minds around. So I'm not taking that. I'm not one of those people that are, it's all Tom Brady, all those Super Bowls. No, that defense won probably the first half of those Super Bowls without a doubt. But I have a question about how many years is he in this for? Like how far is, what I mean? With his age and with the whole college situation, we seen, what's his name, leave Alabama because he was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. Right.
Nick Saban.
Yeah. Nick Saban. He has nothing to prove. So he's like, I'm out. So,
well, let me answer your question this way. You're not sure, but the succession plan is there with his son, Steven Belichick will be his heir apparent there. That's what you're looking at. He's setting the table for his son, Steven Belichick, to take over. Yeah, he's probably got 1 or 2, 3 years left if he can handle it. Okay. But then Steven Belichick that's why they brought him in there. That's why he left the job up in Seattle to come down here. So he'll be the heir apparent. I don't know if it's in the contract, but that's my feeling. But I understand where you're coming from, Chris. Well, point. All right, we'll turn it over to George.
Well, I didn't like the move when I first heard it. I didn't think it was a good fit. I really didn't. I mean, jumping back to the college ranks after such unbelievable success with the Patriots, of course. I never questioned him too much about his coaching skills. I know a lot has been said and written about whether he's really as bright and brilliant and the chief playmaker during all those Super Bowl runs. But come on, folks. He had the number one quarterback, but he still had to put the whole thing together. And then here he gets into college. And like you guys said, he had 8-9 months and it was chaotic. It was chaos. And there were this story and that story and about the girl he's dating and distraction after distraction. And I really think that was very harmful. That was very harmful, not only to his university, but I think to college sports and athletics as a whole.
Right.
Because I see this man, and most people see him as a very rich man, a little bit arrogant, a little, maybe a lot, we don't know. And, that got all this money, and now he still wants to, not doubting the fact that he wants to achieve something. I'm not doubting that. He's not doing this for his own fun and games. He wants them to win. He wants them to win it all. But it was a late starter, like you guys said, late starter with recruiting, hiring his staff, all these new players, like Andy mentioned. I mean, there's so much to ramp up, so much. And he just, and again, I don't want to sound like it's a defeat right now. The first game was not a good show, though. But there's still a lot of football left, as they say. But the fact of the matter is that they got on it late. And I don't like all the circus atmosphere that follows that man around. I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, let me tell you, Mac Brown wasn't happy that Bill Belichick got more resources to work with than he did. And number two, in that opener, Sonny Dykes felt that his team was disrespected because that North Carolina got all the hoopla, and he said, it's a good way to run it up on these guys. So he says it after the fact. Sonny takes a high road during the week, and then after it was done, he could have put 55 on him if he wanted to, but didn't. 48 is enough. And there you go, Bill. Okay, 48 is enough. So he felt disrespected over TCU. That was part of the reason he ran up. All right, Jacob.
You know, the way he's got a 24-year-old at this point in time, if he keeps losing, she's going to go after Hubert Davis. But still, you know, but the biggest thing about it, though, biggest thing about this is I'm not going to give up after one game. TCU's a tough team. And no, I'm never going to say, I'm not going to be like fans that say it's Tom Brady and Tom Brady. Only he had to develop Tom Brady. He had to draft him. Tom Brady was skinny as a rail, and he couldn't throw more. He threw under 50 yards when he got drafted. He had to develop. He had to do all that stuff. And then they were a team together. We have every video showing how much they were a team, and they worked together on this thing. So I know it's not – I mean, Bill Belichick is his own genius. But he's got another thing he has to deal with right now. His last Super Bowl. What year was his last Super Bowl, by the way? His win?
Win?
Been a
Was it the
while.
Falcon one? Was it when they?
No,
beat
it
the
wasn't
Falcons?
60. It was like 18, I believe. It was against the Rams.
Okay, so
Those
seven
kids
or eight.
those kids that are on this team were 10 years old.
Yeah.
They every other time he's coached after that, it's been like Mac Jones at like 9-8 or 8-9, 7-10, all that stuff. And
2019.
then,
19,
2019.
yeah, 2019. Thank you.
6
But I'm
years.
saying,
Yeah.
okay, so 11 years old. But that's the big thing that he's got to deal with. It's a lot of them that look on YouTube, TikTok, they grew up with that world. They don't remember him winning. They don't. They're like 3 and 4 when he was dominating. So those are the things to have to think about with this. He's literally going to have to start over, start anew, and show why he is the best. And that game was not a good start. But truthfully, Richmond and Charlotte, those might be good things to dip your toe in the water, see if you can coach. You know, see if you can go 2-1 before you face Clemson. It's worth the deal and stuff like that. And in truth, I might have wanted to face those kind of teams that go 2-0 before facing a tough team like that.
I'll disagree with the players not knowing who he is, because even kids that were drafted in the 80s, right, knew who Vince Lombardi was, right? You still know who Vince Lombardi is. So I think Belichick was this generation's Vince Lombardi.
No,
like everybody knows Parcells, right? Everybody knows the big
they
coaches.
know, but they didn't see him.
Right,
And
not all of them, but they did catch some of those Super Bowl wins with the Brady, that part. So I'll disagree a little bit on that, but I agree with most of what you said.
Right, but we know, and you're right on this, Chris. We know about Lombardi and stuff like that. We all do, and they would know it. And people to this day know that name because of that trophy. They know this, but remember, when we grew up knowing him, we didn't have the internet. And we didn't have those TikToks and didn't have all those things. We heard all the stories, and we got all the documentaries, and we did all that kind of stuff. And now we've had an NFL, on the NFL Network, with his documentary, which is an excellent documentary. I've seen it 50 times. The thing about it, though, is this is such a different era where literally kids will watch highlights or they will watch Red Zone, which Red Zone now is going to be commercials for the first time. Ridiculous. But they watch.
Well, that'll be a topic, Jacob, we talk about next week. So don't think.
Yeah, no problem. But it's like, but I'm saying though, it's like they do Red Zone. They do those things. They didn't watch full games. They watch those little details. With Lombardi time and all those things, 90% of kids were watching full games in those days. Now it's like 53%, maybe even lower now. So it's such a different day.
Okay. Just got text message from Mickey Callaway. He's about to jump on any minute. So we'll go to a station break right now with Candy, and we'll wait for the Mick to jump on, and we'll have a couple other topics we want to get to. Jacob, you got about 20 minutes or so hang with us.
Sure.
We had a couple of good topics to go, but we're keeping you on the 65-minute schedule. Everything is flowing along very nicely. Mickey Callaway, former Mets manager, is about to join us really shortly, and we'll have some baseball to talk to, as well as our feature topic of the night. We want to make sure we got Mick on there. Candy, station break time. Go ahead.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganroth, and the foreword is written by another panelist, Mr. George Eichhorn, talks about their 40 plus years in the media business, old school media versus new school media. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, you can call Scott at 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right. Now, one other football game I want to talk about. Mickey Callaway is about ready to join the program. Mickey, welcome to the big show.
Hi,
How
guys.
are ya?
What's up? I'm doing well.
we're-
Just got off the
Howdy,
field.
Mickey.
So, Mickey, I want to
How you
introduce you
doing, George?
to the Baltimore kid. Ryan's been dying to meet you. Well, not dying to meet you, but looking forward to meeting you. I can't even know dying.
Yeah. Don't hype him up too much. Just calm down.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Nice
sorry.
to meet you, Ryan.
I'm sorry. Nice to meet you, Mickey.
And of course, you're familiar with Chris Pizza Man. Okay, so
Yep.
there you
Hey,
go. So,
Chris,
all right,
how you
Mickey, we got some. While we have you on for the rest of the duration of the show, I got a couple topics we're going to talk about, and we saved a lot of the baseball hay for you to get back on. How does that sound? All right.
All right. That sounds
All right.
great.
So we're going to talk about takeaways from Florida State, 31-17 upset of Alabama. The Alabama loss takes a season opener loss for the first time since 2001. Mickey, did you have a chance to see that game?
No, but my daughter goes to Alabama, and she traveled down to FSU to go watch it. So she was very disappointed. She's already calling for the head coach's head. So I don't think he's going to last very long.
So are a lot of people. Don't feel too bad. Your daughter is a smart young lady. Then.
Yes,
All right,
she
Chris.
is.
Well, I think we're learning that, life after Nick Saban is not that nice down in Alabama, Alabama football. So that's what I'm starting to look at from last year and this year. And then again, with the whole nil situation with these kids jumping ship every year, it's going to be really hard for, coaches to put together a team, almost on the fly every year, right? With a bunch of new guys. Like we were talking about Belichick. Belichick brought in 70 new players this year. And then next year, who knows? He might have to bring in, I don't think it'd be 70, but he's going to have to bring in a lot of new guys because a lot of these guys are going to move on because they're going to say, you know what? I don't want to be with this guy. I want to go with someone else, So I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to see the dynasty that Saban put together down in Alabama again. I think that was, I think that's long gone, especially in Alabama, but we'll see what happens going forward.
All right, George.
Yeah, I got the family thing going too. Both of my nieces graduated from Bama and are huge fans. But hey, listen, you can't live on your laurels of the past.
No.
I mean, it really, really, like you guys said, it's a different ball game this time around. And with the NIL and the switcheroos we're seeing left and right, team after team, college after college, these players moving around like quicker than we can bat an eye. This is a whole new world. And obviously, they didn't expect to lay an egg like that. I thought they would win, but this is just something that really, really is an eye opener for me. That don't necessarily pencil all these premier teams in like you have if you're voting for the coaches poll and all these polls, and putting this one here, top 5, and no, it's not going to be that way. There's going to be a lot of new talent, a lot of new teams winning. And Bama's right now not looking very good as far as their acquisition of talent. But it's a long year again. Let's wait and see. But, yeah, you can't afford many losses, not in this playoff format.
Okay, Candy.
His shoes to fill, Nick Saban's shoes, are so big. And the problem is the expectations are so high. So he comes in and everybody expects, you're going to have the same success as a coach that is a historic coach, Hall of Fame coach. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that quickly that way. And the other thing is Florida State has something to prove. They went in there 2 years ago and they got slapped and disrespected, and so then they weren't, and so then a lot of players didn't play in the playoffs game. So then last year, a lot of people left, and that was the transfer portal, and then they had a horrible season. So what did they have on their mind all off season? Let's go out and let's beat Alabama. Our first game of the season. We got nothing to lose. We're at home. We renovated our stadium. If you've never been to their stadium, it definitely gives an FSU a boost because their fans, their stadium is wild. And I think, honestly, Alabama overlooked them too. They said, hey, we're playing a team. Last year, they only won 2 games. How good are they really going to be? How well were they prepared? And yeah, I know it's only the first game of the season. But I think all of those factors, and then the pressure of playing for Alabama, everybody expects them to win. Expected them to beat FSU. Put a lot of pressure on it. But FSU had nothing to lose. Go out there and play your game loose, have fun. Nobody expected them to win. So, hey, they went out and won, had fun.
They're on house money, Candy. That's what you were trying to say. All right, Jacob.
I was to say this, Mickey. Your daughter brought that up about them getting mad at Kalen DeBoer. They heard me say this part. I was never mad at him. I think he's a really good coach. But this is the thing. Where I've had my anger is at Paul Feinbaum. He did a whole spring practice and whole dang thing about he brings joy. He brings ice cream. He brings hugs when they do good plays. Oh my God! This is so beautiful, and it's like, and he could be so much better than Saban, who yelled at everybody. He put that on. They put that on themselves with that. It's like, guess what? Saban is rough. Saban's nasty because Saban wants to win. That's how old school coaches are. My hometown has a player, you might know the name, Jack Cornell, TBK.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the coach of Quincy Notre Dame Raiders right now. He was doing an opening week, the motivational thing. Some of the moms got a little bit irritated and played Karen and told on him, and he's got a 1-game suspension right now. Because he had decided to be a little tough. Because little Preston and little Stetson, or whatever the heck their names are, can't take it. That's what a Kalen DeBoer era is right now. That's what that is right now. And it's going to have to take time for boosters to ignore the Karens. And it's going to have to take... And Kalen DeBoer is going to have to... He's going to have to find himself. He's got to quit the hugs and quit everything and get these kids tough. Because ice cream doesn't win games. It doesn't.
Hey, Jacob, by the way, what I'm going to do before you sign off, I'm going to give you an opportunity to comment on 2 non-sports topics. I know these are up your alley. Yeah. And then we're going to get to our feature topic of the day in a moment. All right, Ryan.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I think Candy took the words out of my mouth. I mean, big shoes with Saban, right? I can't sit here and lie. I'm not a college football fan, but going back to the Federer thing, like everybody knows Nick Saban. His name is synonymous with college football. You're asking this guy to fill tremendous shoes, just like to bring it back to something I know. It's like Tyler Loop with Justin Tucker, right? All eyes are going to be on this kid this year to see if he can, hold that mantelpiece. But any coach worth their salt, any player worth their salt doesn't want to be the next guy. So I'm guessing this guy doesn't want to be the next Nick Saban. He wants to be the first him. So I hope that he can perform. I hope that he can, carry this team. But it's hard when you have that kind of pressure. when you have a guy who's set that legacy, who's built that culture, who's, like I said, Nick Saban in college football is, it's like Goodell in the NFL right now. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Here's what you have. Tommy Castellanos. Watch out for this kid. He's electric. He's a dual threat. And he single-handedly beat this team on his own with his feet and his legs. His feet and his arm. Number one, he's an exciting electric player. Watch out for him. Gus Malzahn works well with this kid. Mike Norvell, all he had to do is delegate to his assistant coaches. Hey, you take over, do what you got to do. I'll just go out there and ask you what you're doing. Leave you alone. We have Gus Malzahn, an electric quarterback. And then, as Candy said, you're on house money. That's a recipe for disaster. Yes, Coke Campbell Stadium is an intimidating place. You knock out 9,000 seats, you're about 70,000, and all of a sudden it becomes a bigger home field advantage than it already was. Guess what? Things are looking good in Tallahassee. And by the way, for those of you that have ever been to that campus, and Candy and I were there once, I think they're tearing down the Pert Reynolds at dorms up there as well. I think they started demolishing them today. So just put that out there. Pert Reynolds played football up in Tallahassee. And one of my good friends is actually the sports editor for the Tallahassee Democrat. No need to go any further. All right, Jacob, before we get into our featured topic of the night, this will get everybody thinking and laughing, especially such as Ryan's first show. He's going to wonder, oh, my God, what did I sign up for on Wednesday night? So, and then we're going to get to our featured topic of the night. That's how you're going to leave, okay? But, Jacob, these are only for you, and then everybody else will get a chance. A man donated a kidney to a wife, demands it back during a divorce on Long Island. Surgeon Dr. Richard Batista gained notoriety for demanding the return of his kidney, or $1.5 million from his estranged wife. Organ donations are considered irrevocable gifts. Oh yes, I'm trying to make this New Yorker who's laughing right through his cotton picking pizza face. Jacob, what are your thoughts about this? Since you're a pundit, anyways.
And he had to say Long Island too.
Well, I'll tell you this: if Belichick ends up marrying the girl, that'll be his reward in the first place. He'll have to give his kidney back to her.
Okay.
but nah, I mean, divorces have gotten worse. They just have. You're going to hear these kind of stories, and it's like I just heard this story tonight. This is the craziest thing. One guy, 20.
No, I want you to comment on this one. You're on a time clock.
What's going on? It's true.
Okay.
It's true. The reason I was saying this is because this is a true story. Because the story I was bringing up was based off of a guy who married his wife in Puerto Rico, then immediately, quote unquote, divorced her, then came back to the States. You don't have to tell anybody that you divorced. They went 20 years. She tried to divorce, take his money, found out they were already divorced. So that's what I'm talking about. Is like this. These stories will get crazier and crazier.
Well, we're talking about a kidney, Jacob.
Yeah.
Kidney.
But no, that just has to do with divorce and a kidney. But yes,
that's why I brought it up, Jacob. Kidney. He wanted it back.
Yeah.
For a guy that's had 29 operations, he wasn't looking. Another one there. Okay. All right. That might be over your head, Jacob. That's okay.
Well, I was just talking about divorce more than anything.
All right. Well, good. Now that you brought it up, we got another divorce story, which is even more laughable than this one. And then we'll get to our featured topic of the night. Everybody on the crew could think about these two questions. But a 99-year-old man divorces his 96-year-old wife after 77 years after he finds out she cheated on him 60 years ago. Oh, my goodness. Like, they get any crazier. And everybody gets to think about these things later. Skippy came in at the right time to get to answer later. But all right, Jacob, what are your thoughts about this?
He was marrying that hot 88-year-old across the street. No, I mean, that's all it was. He was just marrying the hot 88-year-old across the street. She was the young one.
Okay. That's it? That's all you got?
Well, really by itself, it's like they probably take the till death do your part type deal.
Yeah.
A little too seriously on that, especially at that age.
There you go. I like that response better. All right. Now we'll go to our featured topic of the night. And that being this. And then Jacob can go ahead and we'll let him have his bedtime. He capped him at 60 minutes and wanted to get the best of Jacob Christopher tonight. And we'll go from there. But our featured topic of the night is Put Kirk Cousins' agent in the Hall of Fame. He guaranteed himself $331.6 million and earned on the field across 14 NFL seasons. Guess what? Tommy the Brady earned $332 million in 23 seasons. Is that better than Bobby Bonilla's agent? Okay, we'll start off with you, Jacob.
Yeah. The agents now deserve the Hall of Fame. They really, really do. And you got to think about who. Let's see. I'm thinking about that backup. Chase. Help me here, TBK. Chase.
Oh man.
Let's see. Anyway, he was a backup. He backup that threw 55 passes in his career, got $40 million. Yep.
Name's escaping me. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's like 40 million. And remember this: Tyson Bagent's he's got 16 million guaranteed now, and he's the second stringer. Don't know if he's going to play this year as much as I'd want him to. You've got, there are backups right now getting guaranteed money right now as we speak, and it's going to get more and more even before these starters are. It's like everything. It's like you can literally, and you got to remember, you don't know who became one of the most famous agents for a while was the Paisan agent himself, DeVito's. Right. He became, and it's like, and he constantly got him contracts. The guy hasn't won a game. So it's a world. It is the world of the agent. I've said that agents run sports.
Right.
They run sports. There is a reason that you can't tough it out anymore. The agents don't want you to. They want to get you. The thing about it is there are baseball players that say, I can't steal as many bases as I want because they're saying that's that's going to hurt my contract if I miss. It's like they run that world. It's not about winning anymore, and that's where it is. That's what the problem is. As far as Kirk, thing is, it's crazy, but it's not. It's crazy to see that kind of money compared to somebody who's won 7 rings. But it's not like he's been a miserable quarterback. Right. It's not like the stuff like that. He's been fine. It's like you can get 500-yard games out of the guy, and it's like it's all there. So there are a lot worse quarterbacks that have gotten a lot. Like I said, the backup with 55 career passes.
Well, keep in mind though that he's earned a lot of that money on the franchise tag with the Washington franchise as well. Yeah. Didn't mind doing it. Most people don't want to do it. So, but anyway, I like the idea of comparing him to Bobby Bonilla's agent because Bobby's getting $1 million.
That was brilliant. No one thought of deferred money back then. Now you got Ohtani with 90% deferred in the rest of his career.
Oh, there you go. All right, Jacob, let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
Here, what you see right here, I'm also Jacob Christner on Facebook, Sideline One Sports on TikTok, and I might be shy next week, maybe not. No, yeah, no, never will happen.
No shot of that.
No shot of that.
Right.
Keziah's already loving my stuff.
Yes.
No, but I'm on that. I am on Instagram, Jacob Christner _ and just a bunch of different places, and I do different things here and there, and I always give the news when it comes.
All right, well, you know what, Jacob? We enjoy having you on the Sports Exchange every Wednesday night, and look forward to seeing you on next Wednesday. Meanwhile, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm sure I'll have plenty more off-the-wall stuff, which I know you can easily handle. So
good to meet you, Mickey. Good to meet you, TBK.
Yeah, good to meet you, Jacob.
Good to meet you.
You betcha. Take care.
Have a great week, Jacob. We'll see you next week. All right, my friend?
Yeah.
All right, get up. Bye. All right, so now we're going to go back to our featured topic of the night with everybody else, and we're going to go back to those other 2 non-sports topics so everybody gets a word in on those, because I know there was some interesting body language here. All right, so Skip, let's talk about Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady, the contract.
Yeah. I mean, obviously agents do have a lot of influence on these teams, and a lot of times you'll see these agents have such good relationships or have such good players that they will get a little bit more money for a player that might not be as deserving, just so, that they'll be, kind of steer their other clients in the direction of that franchise at some point. When you're in the draft room with Cleveland back in the day, and they have all the names of all the players on the board and their rankings, they will also have, if Scott Boras is their agent. So it'll have the player's name and it'll say Boris underneath him. You know, he's the only one that they have that because they know that he's either tough to negotiate with or maybe, you know what, we're trying to sign this guy the next year. Let's try to help Boris out so Boris steers somebody in that direction. So agents have a huge impact on all sports, and maybe they should be, you know, if they have such an impact, maybe they should be considered, you know, for some accolades down the road.
Interesting point, Chris.
You know what? I think with Kirk Cousins, you know, he's like the butt of a lot of jokes about the contracts he gets and all that, but he's really not a bad quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback? No, he's not, and he's probably never going to win a Super Bowl, obviously, especially now at his age. But you know, the guy's got a winning record as a quarterback, right? Not a great playoff record that he has, but. And with the Falcons this past year, you know, they should have never signed him. If they were going to draft Penix, they should have never invested that kind of money into Kirk Cousins, thinking, all right, you know, Penix is going to take over, you know, in a year. But obviously he took over in less than a year. But I have no problem with Cousins getting this kind of money because that's what the quarterbacks get now, right? They get ridiculous money. So it is what it is at this point. And you know, kudos to his agent for getting that kind of money, especially this year. I should say last year from Atlanta, because to me it made no sense to sign him and then draft Penix in the first round. I could see drafting somebody later on in the draft to kind of develop behind Cousins in about 2 years, but not a kid in the first round that you're going to say, okay, he's ready to start, you know, maybe this year or next. So, but I have no problem with Cousins getting that kind of money.
George.
Yeah, it's a lot, like you said before, Mickey. I mean, you know, and you guys are talking about Steve Burrows and all that money that he gets for his players. I mean, look at it this way, you know, like the pitchers where we're paying them on past performance, the reward, if you will, for being such an outstanding pitcher the last several years. A lot of that had to do with the same type of situation. I mean, with Cousins, you know, he had some really good years in Minnesota. And I agree. He didn't get them onto the Super Bowl. He didn't get them to win the Super Bowl, but he was being paid on past performance in the years that he put together with the Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Now, I always liked him. I mean, you know, he was from my area, you know, Michigan State University. He was well coached, very good player, very motivated by his faith, his religion, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. He's a clean-cut guy. You weren't going to have any problems with Kirk Cousins. But, yeah, I mean, Atlanta did make a mistake. And, I mean, you know, to go ahead and then spend capital on him and then come up with Penix Jr., I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy stuff. But I'm not going to fault Cousins at all. And, of course, you know, him getting more money than Brady is kind of ridiculous, obviously. But we're talking about, you know, Cousins is still playing. Brady's retired. But all that to say, yes, those agents are going to pound out as much as they can, especially for these quarterbacks. No question about it.
Andy.
You know, they played in different eras, and that's where you're going to look at the difference. Because if you look at Brett Favre, he only made $142 million in his 20-year NFL career. Trevor Lawrence signed a 5-year contract for $275 million. Like, you think about that. I mean, he's not proven, and yet, and then you look at like Brett. I mean, I'm just saying it's a different time. Contracts have exploded immensely over the last couple of years. I mean, look at what Micah Parsons just signed for the Green Bay Packers, and he's not a quarterback. You know, and quarterbacks typically are your highest paid, and I know, but look at what he's gotten too. Like, the amount of money that the NFL throws at these players is astronomical. Astronomical. But you know what? Kudos to them, because they're going to make the money when they can, because the life of an NFL player is not – you're not going to see a lot of 20-year careers anymore.
Right.
You're just not.
Okay, TVK.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can't fault the guy. Nobody's gonna fault Kirk Cousins for making his money. I mean, it's an agent's job to represent their client to the best of their ability, and yeah, it's definitely Hall of Fame worthy for a guy who, like we said, never been in a Super Bowl. He's been impressive, but he's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Jalen Hurts. He's not a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson. And I mean, if I could be mediocre at my job and make a bunch of money, I wouldn't complain either. So, I mean, hey, good for him. He's getting the bag for doing not a lot.
Great points. I like the way here's the thing. And I titled this show, Kirk Gibson's agent is better than Bobby Bonilla's, only because of the short-term money that he's earning and the amount of money. But we all know that Bobby Bonilla's agent is better in another sense because he got his client $1 million for a long time because of deferred money. So it's just but let's face the reality. Kirk Cousins is not a step. When it's all said and done, his passing statistics are going to rank probably amongst the top 10 before it's over with. So it's not like his numbers are gaudy. But I wanted to see where everybody was going to go with it because it is an interesting topic when you compare and contrast that, and let alone the fact they've made more money on the football field than Tom Brady. But we all know how well Tom Brady's doing off the field between his gig with Fox as well as his other business investments in terms of ownership and so forth. But it's one of those topics I brought on here because I know it was a thinking person's topic, and that's why everybody responded in the manner that they did. Now, I'm going to bet.
Can I just add one more thing about Brady, too, just before?
Sure.
I think with Brady also took probably a little bit less money when he signed his contracts. Number one, I think he was an unselfish player, right? He wanted to try to spread the money out or whatever to bring in other players. Plus, let's be honest, look who he was married to. He was married to a supermodel. He wasn't exactly hurting for money, right? So, all right, give me a few million less. I think I could survive, right?
But your first point's good. But Chris, with all due respect, your first point's good. He did take less money because he wanted better players.
Right.
Now, I don't care who he's married to. He did make some financial sacrifices to win, and that's the point that you're saying that makes a lot of sense. And we'll ride with that. All right, we're going to go back to the kidney story, and we're going to go back to the 90 because everybody's going to have some fun. And then I have another one even better than that after that, and then we'll get to some of our other interesting topics. Oh, Skip, you came on at the right time, my friend. All right. So let's talk about the kidney story, TBK.
I mean, is that not the most epic Indian give you've ever heard?
Exactly.
I'm gonna need that back.
I'm gonna need that back.
I don't know if it was in the prenup. Look, I'll give it to you. If we're not together, you're gonna have to go on pass that back.
That's good. Candy.
I can't even believe we're talking about this because I can't even believe someone would do that. Like, a gift is a gift. That's why it's called a gift. And it's not considered marital property. It's inside the new person. Like it's part of them now. It just amazes me. And if you think about it, like an engagement ring, a wedding ring, those technically aren't marital property either, unless they're an heirloom. So, come on. Really? I can't believe you would even have the audacity to ask for it back. I mean, or trying to put a price tag on it. How do you put a price tag on it? I want 1.5 million or I want my kidney back. I mean, why say 1.5? Why not 2? Why not 3? I mean, come on, really?
It's ridiculous.
You can't believe we're talking about. Remember who the executive producer is of the show, the Gunslinger. That's why we're talking about it.
It's the Walmart of kidneys. There's a deal going on here.
I guess so.
I told Candy, when I do these shows, I can't believe we're doing it. That's what makes the show so incredible. Because I'm the executive producer. I have a producing background with iCard, right? So, come up with all this stuff behind the scenes, and then we put it on the air. All right, Skip. I'll bet you never thought in a million years in all your lifetime anybody would come up with this absurd topic, plus 2 more that are coming up. So, Skip, let's talk about the
No,
kidney situation.
I think this guy knows he's not getting the kidney back. He's using this for leverage so he can bring it up so the judge or the mediator gives him a little break and to maybe knocks 1.5 million off of what he's got to pay his ex-wife.
Right.
He knows what he's doing. And it makes for a good story. Maybe he gets some sympathy and says, oh, he gave her a kidney. He saved her life. He shouldn't have to give her anything. I think that's more about what this is.
You got me to talk about it. I'm talking about it. Exactly. It's a good story. I'm a journalist. All right, Chris.
See, this guy needs Scott as his lawyer because he could be like, really? Seriously? Really? Come on. You want the kidney back? No, it's so ridiculous. It's like, and like Andy said, like, how can you even put a figure on it? I mean, it's I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Just keep scratching your head. That's all
I'm doing, man. It's so ridiculous.
Go while your head, scratch your head. Body language counts on here because this is visual. All right. Icorn, I bet you never thought at our WXYZ days I would concoct something like this up.
No, and if you did, you would have been on Sonia Friedman's show instead of Sports Talk at the old station.
Yeah, I know.
We had a shrink show. Yeah, this is craziness. This is really craziness. I would never support that with the preposterous giving it back up routine. People nowadays are just going a little bit, you think, overboard on some of this stuff, especially when marriages fail or they go to court to do this and settle that. But that's craziness. That's the first I've heard. But I hope there's no judge in this land that's going to say, yeah, you got to cut that kidney out and give it back. No, of course not.
I don't hold your breath, but we're talking about it's good enough. All right, so we'll go back to the other story we have talked about the 99-year-old guy divorcing his 96-year-old wife after 77 years. Unbelievable. All right, TBK, what's your take on this one?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I can guarantee the conversation went like this. Like, hey, look, I have something that's been heavy on my heart. I have to confess to you. And the guy probably looked at her and was like, who are you? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you, I'm going to chalk it up as welcome to Wednesday nights.
There you go. Hey, I told you. Hey, TBK, what did I tell you, man? Didn't I tell you this be a show you never forget?
You did. You did that.
Can I tell you, are you looking forward to coming on the next Wednesday, wondering what I'm going to come up with?
Absolutely.
Good. That's all you have to say tonight, man. All right, Candy.
Yeah, this is another head scratcher. Like, I mean, really?
Really?
Really? Seriously? Really?
That's
I mean,
really?
After 60 years. I mean, I can't even fathom being married 60 years. Like, let's face it, I'm not even 60 years old at this point, but not that I'm far off. But I mean, to talk about an indiscretion that happened that long ago, like, yeah, I don't know what to say.
That's good enough. All right, Skip, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everybody else. This kind of blows my mind, but I guess he wants to live his last year or last half of a year, not worrying that his wife cheated on him at some point. I don't know. That's just kind of crazy. I'm sure that they've been through everything else you could possibly imagine after 60 years. So I don't know.
Good, I like it.
But
you don't know.
Hey, you've outdone yourself with the crazy stats, and I don't know where you find this stuff. I think you read the National Enquirer or something.
No, I got a better source than that one. I got a better. Don't worry, Skip. He's a quick study too. This guy, he is, because I come up with stats. Don't you like all this crazy stuff, Skip? You wouldn't be staying around if you didn't like it. It wasn't interesting, right?
Yeah. What's that place in Central Florida where all the old people live? The Villages. He just wants to move to the Villages and have a good time for the next year. I think that's what he wants to do.
I'll tell you, I'll bet my last dollar that those two are buried next to each other despite the cheating business, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
Because they probably set that up a long time ago. Just because he got divorced doesn't mean they're not going to be not going to be together, even though they won't be talking to each other. Let's get off the death subject. All right, but I just
paid
had
for
to
their
throw that in
plots
there.
10, 20 years ago.
Exactly, that's my point. All right, Chris, another head
Yeah.
scratcher that you'll never see on New York
Yeah.
MLB talk.
Yeah, definitely not. Listen, I would have been like, hey, 60 years ago, wasn't it during the free love time era and all that in the 60s and all that? So come on, can we let this one go? Just let this one go. It was just a mistake. It was just whatever. It's 60 something years ago. You gotta let go. You gotta let go and move on. And I thought maybe after 60 years, I'd be like, this is the ultimate, like, not my wife, and I'm sure not Candy, but some wives hold on to things and they might bring it up later on. Like, this is the ultimate one, right? 60 years later. Like, are you still? Come on. Really? So
don't forget, seriously, really, while you're at it, sick them, Ed.
Exactly. I don't want to take the whole thing from you.
Go ahead. I don't care.
No.
I mean, doesn't this kind of take the whole expression of "we're here for a good time, not a long time" out of the equation, though? Because they've been around for a minute.
All right, George. This is another one of those WXYZ. Good ones.
Yeah,
Special.
this is craziness, really. Look at the example set by Jimmy and Rosalind Carter. Okay, you folks, you know what I mean? He even went and he had a Playboy interview and he admitted, he said, I lusted in my heart after women. Very famous quote, President Carter, when he was running against Jerry Ford in 1976. And do you think Rosalind took that and said, wait a minute, I don't want to be part of you anymore? Heck no. I mean, they were married 70 years together, whatever it was. I'm just saying that, come on, if it happened 60 years ago, he probably wants to just, clean things up. The old man shouldn't have said it, but he did. He was being truthful. And don't go and throw a divorce at the guy. I mean, this is just something that really, really is totally unexpected. But, I just don't think I don't think that she was in the right. He wasn't in the right. He should have probably never brought it up again.
Well, okay, so I went from two crazy topics, and I figure, why not go for the third one? You ready? Everybody's heard that a dog is a man's best friend, right?
Right.
They are.
We've all heard that cliche, right? But did you ever hear that a car is a man's best friend? Because here's the next one. A Florida man parked his BMW M3 in his living room during a hurricane. My goodness, I don't know how the guy got the vehicle in there. Skip, what do you think? A BMW M3, I don't even know what it is, in his living room during a hurricane. How does that one grab you?
I'm all for it. This insurance stuff that goes on is such a ripoff. You're not going to get anything back if your car gets destroyed. So I'd be doing the same thing if my doors were big enough.
So that one's a little bit more realistic than the other two that I just mentioned, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, but that's okay. This is what makes the sports exchange interesting. I've always been taught by my mentors, you got to be different. And I'll be damned, I'm wearing that "You are looking live from the Netherlands." That's what you missed earlier, by the way, from Brett Musburger, was my Netherlands shirt. Amsterdam bicycles, none of which I got on any of those things. Otherwise, who knows if I would have made it back to begin the debut of your show. All right, Chris, what are your thoughts about a BMW MS in somebody's living room?
Did it happen in Florida? This sounds like a Florida.
Got to be a hurricane. Got to be someplace. But forget about where the hell that happened. You know what, George? What you missed last week was Chris was my new whipping boy when you were here last week. So it'll be a toss-up who becomes a whipping boy.
Sounds like something that happens in Florida at least once or twice every summer, right? During hurricane season. So it's like, all right. Oh, he parked his car in the house. Yeah, no problem.
Why, you think they can afford BMW MSs out in Alabama?
No, definitely no. Only in Florida, not Alabama.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, no.
Can't have earthquakes in California.
Yeah, well, walking it in your house with an earthquake, I don't think that's really going to help you.
Well, because you're going to go down, down, down. Get off the subject. All right, you graduated. All right, Eichhorn.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, the guy's got to have a hell of a what do you call that? Roll up windows or something. The proverbial garage door that he can just open up. I don't get how he got it in there. But people are so attached to their possessions. Especially, I know he's got an expensive car. I mean, I know that he paid a bundle for that car. But this is strange. This is the first time, Scott, I ever heard of anybody doing this with their automobile. I mean, yeah, he could put it in his garage if the garage electronic door opener and stuff like that. But in the house, in the dining room, woo, man, he has a big policy to keep that car in running shape, I guess, huh?
George, this is a show. Hey, George, this is a show where you've seen the 3 first times in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, you're doing great. You're
and
3
we've been
for
at
3.
and we've been at this a while, Icorn.
Yeah, we
All
sure
right,
have.
Candy.
So he lives in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
There it is.
Really?
He's got to be a Met fan.
During Hurricane Matthew in 2016, he drove his prized BMW into the living room. And then, to top it off, he repeated it in 2019 during Hurricane Dorian. But not only did he drive his vehicle in there, he also allowed a friend's Volkswagen GTI to go into his.
How big is this house?
Yeah,
He measured his double doors on his front doors, and they were wide to confirm that they were wide enough to fit. Now, what my first thought when you said this, Scott, was it's a high school prank, because there was a high school prank up in Wisconsin where they took a car and they took it apart piece by piece and built it inside the high school. So that's what I first thought. But I looked it up. Port St. Lucie, Florida, 2016 and 19.
Yeah, Mickey and I know Port St. Lucie. There you go. But I tell you, Mickey, you really came out when you said 9:45. I'm going to wait for these non-sports topics to that way I can make this guy's drive home very interesting. All right, TBK, what's your third shot at your first Wednesday?
I mean, forget Kirk Cousins. I'm going to live with this guy.
Exactly.
He's got
2 cars in your house,
dude. He's got the money, obviously. Like. You know, I mean, I guess they say life is a series of, choices, decisions, and priorities. I mean, you see where his priorities are. Oh, rumor has it, by the way, Scott, they found there was a kidney in the back of the trunk.
All this, yeah, they're all. That's gonna be the next story. They're all connected.
Hey, Mickey, this TBK is already fitting nice on his first show. He's the newest member of our broadcast team, just so you know. He'll
love it. Yeah.
And I might even bring him on our show. Hey, TBK, what are you doing this Saturday morning?
I guess I'm talking to you, Scott.
Guess what? Mickey, we just found our guest for Saturday morning to talk some baseball. You want to come on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll be in touch with you. They'll book a date with you Saturday after you get through this show. Okay. But yeah, no, this is pretty good. That's why I came up with these 3. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. That's all the Spanish I know. Don't go any further than that because I don't fit in down here anyway. All right, well, guess what? Since we have such a great love theme going on, I'm going to go one more. Okay, but this one's even interesting. Jerry Rice to Barry Bonds. You ready? Oh, my goodness. NBA Celebrity All-Star Game. How many rings do you have, Bonds? I have 2 divorce rings. All right, Skip, what are your thoughts about this one?
I'm not even quite sure what to say about this
exactly.
one.
I think there's a reoccurring theme going on.
Yeah, I don't know what to say.
We'll get to some serious stuff here, but I'm on a roll with these topics. All right, Skip.
You are. You're coming up with some doozies tonight. I love it.
Did
you have a few cocktails last night when you were preparing for this show?
No, actually, you know what, Skip? I was thinking that once you told me you wanted to come on Wednesday night, I said I'm going to give him a Wednesday night sports exchange. He never that. I come up with these non-sports topics anyways, and I told you I like to do it because I like to be off the wall and different. But these 3 were just too good to pass up. And when you got Jacob on a show like this, who's an opinion guy anyway, He didn't get the BMW one. He got the other two because that kind of fits his personality.
Yeah.
But I'll come up with all these. If you ever want to come on Wednesday night, Skip, you let me know. And we'll bring you on just for these topics only. How do you like that?
Perfect. I love it. I think we should talk about some aliens on Saturday morning myself.
Well,
That'd be fun.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll be communicating. But guess what? TBK just volunteered to come on Saturday morning. And we'll be on, I think, from 9 to 10 o'clock Eastern. TBK, you're going to be the third man on the wheel that day. But anyway, so Skip, what are your thoughts about what I just said about the ring situation between Bonds and Rice?
Yeah, he's got more rings than I do. I'll put it that way. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, all right, Chris.
Now, wait. Bonds has the divorce rings. Is that what you're saying? Is that?
Yeah. Bonds doesn't have any championship rings. Sick, man. He's got 2 divorce rings.
There you go. Hey, at least he's got some kind of rings. Give the guy a break. Jerry Rice could have been like, all right, I got a couple of extra rings I could give you, right? He's got what, 4 or 5 Super Bowl rings? So yeah, take a couple. I'm good. I don't
give him. Are you crazy? I wouldn't give Barry Bonds even my high school ring. That's sick.
Come on. He's the home run leader, right? He's
with an asterisk. Don't get me going there. Don't even get me going there. Really? Seriously? Really? See, Icorn, that's what you missed. He's the new whipping boy. Icorn gets off easy, especially when he goes to sports.
According to baseball record book,
Big
Barry
deal.
Bonds is the career home run record.
Then you know what? I'll tell you what, sick them head. I'd like to be Ray Charles so I can't see the damn thing. I'm leaving it at that. Icorn, take over. This guy's blowing. Chris, really?
Yeah, really? Yeah, the new whipping boy.
Oh, I touched a nerve here. All right.
Oh, you always touch a nerve. That's why we bring you back every Wednesday night, because I need the stimulus response. And Chris definitely fits the bill when he comes on these shows. That's why he's a natural. And guess what? He gets TBK every Wednesday. It's not the worst thing in the world. And me and everybody else that can stand there and watch him.
I'm just the guy that brings the facts. You know.
That's called an asterisk facts.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, George. Save this guy.
Listen. 2 divorce rings. That's not too bad when you think about Johnny Carson, Elizabeth Taylor, Mickey Rooney. I mean, there's a lot worse than 2. But I think it is funny because, he never got the championship ring that he long sought. It is a bit of a joke, but I tell you what, Jerry Rice was a great ball player. And, I love that guy. I always did as a receiver. And you know what? It is a joke, but it really does hit. It hits home for Bonds. It does. That he never won a damn championship playing baseball.
What a shame.
Whether he was cheating or not. His teams never won that he was on.
He's the home run king. I don't think he.
I'm glad he didn't. I would have rather seen Dan Marino win one. Everybody knows how much I hate him.
Barry Bonds. That's right. Yeah.
I really would. I hate Barry Bonds. I was covering the Marlins and the Giants, and when the Marlins ended up winning, George, remember the game I covered there when Pudge got collided in? I didn't want to go to Bonds press conference. I got dosed with champagne in the Marlins clubhouse. That was fun. Good. And Bonds, I was glad to see him go, as Ernie Harlan would say, long gone.
Did you cover the Marlins when he was there? He was the hitting coach, right, with the Marlins?
Yeah, I never asked Mattingly that question. I had a good interview. I didn't want to ruin it with that, but I did do some research on it.
Okay.
But all right, Candy, go ahead.
Isn't karma a bitch? I mean, come on, here Bonds perjured himself, did all these other things. Yes, he has accolades. I get that. But he also perjured himself. He was part of the steroid scandal. So is it only fitting that he doesn't have the rings that he really wanted? That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, guess what? Go ahead, TBK, and then we're going to get some real baseball topics. I had to get to the meat of the sense of humor here.
Yeah, I heard you use the phrase divorce rings. That's interesting. I've been divorced, and Scott, where's my ring?
Yeah, why
don't I have one? If Bonds gets one, I get one because nobody knows what I had to put up with. But I guess I'm gonna chalk this one up to it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Okay. I don't even know where my ring is. I don't know. But I'm glad I got the one I have. I got a couple good ones, but now I savor them, and I got another one that symbolizes it because I'm not stupid. I don't want to get robbed and lose my most precious possessions. When I go to my concrete nap, she can decide what ring goes on, but the one I have is indicative of the one that puts up with all my crazy off the wall activities, and she's a dynamo and a Mercedes Benz to go with it. All right, now let's go on to some real baseball talk. Now that I went out there and blew everybody away. All right, let's talk about Jackson Holiday of the Baltimore Orioles. Is he a bust? Through 182 games, 228 average, 20 home runs, 72 RBI, 0.6 WAR. I still hate that stat. I don't know what it is. 291 OBP, 651 OPS, 361. I think they call that slugging percentage. All right, well, Mr. Baltimore, what do you think? Is he a bust?
I mean, I think it's not fair to call him a bust. The kid, I mean, what? He's how old is he? He's like 20, 19 or 20. Is he 21?
Yeah, I think he's 21.
Okay, so he's finally old enough to buy a beer. I mean, like he's young. And this is what the Orioles have been about. They don't want to go spend money on veteran players, so they got this crazy farm system. He was the most talked about call up since like Adley Rutschman and maybe Gunnar. It's going to take time to develop him. He struggled big time during his first couple games, and there was a lot of people who were immediately calling for his head. Oh, send him back down, get rid of him already. And it's like, dude, like give the kid a chance. He just got called up to the show, it's going to take time to develop him, but I think he could be a staple here if he's developed the right way.
Candy?
I think at times you have to have patience, and in this society, we don't. We really don't.
No.
Like a coach, if they're not successful their first year, they're one and done. Like that's what we've become, and we've become this instant society. And how fair is that to someone that is trying to grow and play at an elite level? I think the instant society, the instant success, that's not going to happen. And I think we have to have more patience. I think, I don't think he's done yet. I think, just have some patience and let him keep growing and see where it goes.
Skip?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be totally fine. We'll see what happens. You can't predict anybody's career, but the level is not too big for him. He's been around the game of Major League Baseball his whole life. That's a plus for him. Obviously, he has the big raw power. Not many people just go up to the big leagues and start hitting the ball out of the park like they've done in the minor leagues. The pitching is totally different. They know how to attack him right away. He needs to make some major adjustments. Obviously, I think he needs to shorten his swing a little bit, learn how to hit for contact a little bit for a couple years, and then really start driving the ball out of the ballpark once he gets comfortable doing that. But right now, he's got to go up there, make solid contact, and then the homers will come, because he does have a lot of torque in that core, and he swings the bat really well when he gets the pitches to hit. Now he's got to be patient and make sure that he gets hitter advantage counts so he can drive the ball. Because if you're getting behind and you're being overly aggressive with that big swing, pitchers will eat you alive. But I think in the end he's going to be fine. Most guys that have that kind of talent that don't end up producing for their teams is because the level kind of gets to them, and they're like, oh, it's the big leagues, and they're a little bit intimidated by it. I don't see that in him because of his dad and his family, and I think he'll be just fine in the future.
Chris?
Yeah, I think the kid's going to be fine. He's 21 years old.
Right.
This is his first full season in the majors. Like Mickey said, this kid's been around baseball his whole life. The kid's had a batting cage in his backyard, right? So, I mean, he grew up just playing baseball, and that's it. And he knows, I think it's just a matter of time with him. He's just so young. He's also another thing to add. I know it's not that big of a deal, but he is learning a new position, right? He came up as a shortstop. He's playing second base, so that adds to it. I know shortstop to second is a little bit easier than going the other way around, obviously. But you know, you just got to add that to it. And this whole season for the Orioles has been, you know, really bad, right? I mean, the whole team has really not played well, not just him, right? You know, what's his name? The shortstop hasn't played well. The catcher hasn't played well. I mean, this has been a really bad season for Baltimore. He's just one more. I think he's getting stuck in the mix of this team not playing well. I think this team will be back next year if they spend a few bucks on some pitching and especially the back end of the bullpen. But I think he's going to be fine, Jackson Holiday.
Hey, Chris, you know what? I think it'll be fine too because you recovered with this topic then after I hammered you in the last few. But then again, they were off the wall ones, so you're entitled to recover from those anyway. Because you're a nice guy, Chris. You are. You're one of the best.
And, you know, and we're going to agree to disagree about Barry Bonds being the home run king.
Well, I don't care about them. I just loved your response on the non-sports ones. I didn't care about Bonds. I already know he's a fraud anyways. You don't believe me, ask Bal, B-A-L-C-O. All right, George, go ahead. I love watching Chris just crack up and get to know me because this guy's really Skip a really good addition. TBK and then Rob, these guys are just classics. These guys are good. I only, you know what? I want winners. Okay, go ahead, George.
All right. So last year he batted 189. This year he's at 249. He's up 60 points. Listen, this kid's got a lot of raw power. He's going to be probably a very good player for years and years to come. I've seen this happen. We saw it in Detroit with a guy named Torkelson. Every team has a guy they call up, and he doesn't perform in the eyes of the media or the fans right away, and it takes him a year or two longer. So, no, I think he's got good opportunity there with Baltimore. It's a shame the way they just fell apart this year, but hey, it's not all his fault. And obviously he's got a bright future. He's got his power numbers are up. Again, he's playing more games than he did last year when he was a rookie. And I'm looking, he does have to cut down on the strikeouts. There's too many young players, as we know nowadays, guys and lady, that are going for the fences and they end up striking out way too many times. And I think, you know, Holiday's got to really improve on that, as do a lot of players.
Robin is really home bust degree, 100%.
And you know what? We also see it the other way too, where a kid comes up and he's great in the first year, and then he kind of takes a step back in the second year. So we see it both ways, right? Yeah. So I think I think he's going to bounce back. Like George said, the guy improved. I know he only played like 60 games last year, but he did improve 60 points in his average. So if he does that next year, he's at 300 batting average, which what? 3 guys are hitting 300 this year, I think, or 4 guys. So it'll be pretty good if he hits 300 next year.
Yeah. Well, again, it is too early to tell. I'm with you, Rob, in the chat room. We all know that, but it's out there. And I think people want to get everybody's opinion whether they think he is early on. We've seen amateurs or other pros early in their career be bust, but I'll tell you, and I could get in other football and other sports that are bust, but this kid is definitely not one of them. All right, we'll go on to the New York Yankees. And Derek Jeter says the one thing holding the New York Yankees back is there are no excuses. The Yankees have to clean it up as their errors and mistakes on the field pile up. Okay, you know what, TBK? Derek Jeter's a smart guy. Do you think that's what it's going to take for the Bronx Bombers to make noise in the postseason?
I mean, who knows better about the Yankees than Derek Jeter? I mean, I have told Chris and I've told Rob, as much as it kills me to say it, being that I am a lifelong Orioles fan, I have respect for great players, and Derek Jeter is one of the best. There's no denying that at all. I loved his game. I love the fact that there was never any drama with him. He played the game. He kept his nose clean. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are one of those teams that are always in the conversation, and that's because they cultivate their team, they spend money, they go after who they want, and 9 times out of 10, they get who they want. So, I mean, it's just a matter of putting it all together. This is a winning ball club. They always have been, and until proven otherwise, they always will be. I don't think it's much more than be who you are, be the Yankees.
Great points. I like the way your answers are very concise, but yet you get a lot of information out. You know, George, I've seen a lot of guys come on here that I have no problem with people if they're long-winded. I really don't have a problem because I want everybody to speak their mind and say what many words as they can to make their point. But the thing I've noticed about Ryan, and please take this as a compliment, George and I could both, we've seen a lot. The way you communicate on the air is really fantastic, and I'm glad that you're now a part of this network. You're a great first acting, by the way, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, Candy, go ahead.
Like, I mean, how can you argue with somebody that is a legend? Derek Jeter, I mean, he's played the game, he knows the game, he's played for the Yankees. I would say it starts with playing clean ball. No matter what team you are, if you're not playing clean ball, you're not going to those are the things you can't overcome. Like, do you go in hitting, you go in hitting streaks and then you don't. But if you're not playing clean ball and you have all kinds of errors and all that, you're not going to win games, because up in the majors, you don't have as many errors. I mean, you would expect that more in the minors, college ball, little league for that matter. You have to have less errors than your opponents, because unless you are that much more talented to overcome errors, it's hard.
Skip?
Yeah, I mean, pitching and defense win championships, right? That's what wins you games. And if you're not taking care of the ball and making sure you're not giving these extra outs to teams, then you're not going to do very good. I think this has been the Yankees' problem the last few years. Maybe the last 5 to 6 years, their defense hasn't quite been up to par. And when you're building a team, I feel like you have to take that into account. The teams that can't play defense, you might get to the postseason, because of your division or your whatever, you're hitting the ball out of the park a little bit. But if you're going to want to win a championship, you've got to take care of the ball. You got to run the bases the right way, get the extra bag, and you have to be able to throw strikes and pitch. And they just haven't done that the last 5 or 6 years. And that's why there's no championships in New York.
Yeah. Chris, hello, Kathy McGee. Hello, Kathy. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'd like to acknowledge everybody in the chat room. Thank you.
Yeah, Mickey's 100% correct, and it's kind of funny. Last off season, after the World Series, Cashman said they're gonna try to focus on making his team a better defensive team, and once again this year they're still making the same mistakes, in the field. Their bullpen is not as strong as it's been. That's the one thing that the team in the 90s and the early 2000s, they always had a strong bullpen, right? And this year, it's just not, they're just not pitching up to their, up to what they should be doing. I mean, you got a couple of guys in there that could close games, and they're just not getting the job done this year. But on paper, I mean, if you look at the Yankees, they're as good or better than any team in the American League. The American League is just full of flawed teams this season. So anybody who makes the playoffs is going to have they all got an equal shot at making it to the World Series this year. It's that wide open. So yeah, if the Yankees could just put it together and just go on a nice run, yeah, they could make it to the World Series. But we've seen this season where they've had, very high highs and then very low lows as well. So hopefully they have their highs in the next couple of weeks and they could ride it into the playoffs. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll only add one thing. George has the last word. We have only 2 little small topics that are on this date and a little history that we're going to address real quick before we end it. But the reality is I'm not debating anything Derek Jeter says. Derek Jeter's in the Hall of Fame, and he's won enough championship rings. If he says they need to clean up their errors, I'm taking his word for it. Mm-hmm. Period. Okay, George, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I feel the same way, Scott. I mean, this guy is a pro's pro. We know that Jeter really had an outstanding career, Hall of Famer all the way. Listen, they're 13-4 in their last 17 games. They are playing better ball. But Skip, you're right. Wins are wins. Don't get me wrong. But how many times, like you said, that the miscues, the absent-mindedness, not going for the extra base, or getting thrown out easily when you're trying to score, and you don't have to try to score every single time. You thought you could beat the throw. All I'm saying is this is a problem with a lot of major league players We should not have to be seeing this. And we see so much of it. The errors and the miscues and the absent-mindedness. And I know it bugs us as baseball fans because we all love baseball. You know that. We all do on this panel. And I just think that I've seen it in here locally in this town. And I've seen it, of course, with the Yankees. It's magnified, always magnified more because the Yankees are the Yankees.
Yeah, say what you want about Aaron Boone, but I'll tell you one thing: not in the field, not hitting, but not in the field anymore. He's in the dugout. So, all right, a couple other quick notes I want to get out while we have the opportunity to do. Little Baltimore Orioles history to show it. Throw it. Yeah, July 15th, 1960. Brooks Robinson hits for a cycle and has a 5-for-5 day, helping the Orioles to a 5-2 win over the White Sox. All right, TBK, we know you weren't alive for it, but what are your thoughts about the accomplishment, anyways?
Hey man, Brooks is a staple. He's right up there. Again, one of those names that's synonymous with the team. You talk about the Orioles, you talk about Eddie Murphy, you talk about Eddie Murray. Sorry, right. Murray. Oh, hold it. That's great. Okay, yeah, this is Wednesday night. Eddie Murray. You talk about Frank Robinson. You talk about Cal Ripken. I mean, Brooks, he's a staple in Baltimore. He's a legend. You can't mention the Orioles without talking about Brooks. So, I think he passed away 2 years ago. He was beloved in Baltimore. They had a big ceremony for him at Camden Yards. Well deserved. Rest in peace, Brooks.
Andy?
Yeah, rest in peace. I mean, legend. What more can you say? I'll keep it short since I know we don't have a lot of time yet.
Skip?
Yeah, you give somebody, that many reps, that many games, that is that good, and they're going to do very special things. So that's one of his better games, obviously, that he played. But that's going to happen when Brooks Robinson is out there for that many games. He's going to do something special like that at some point.
Chris?
Like Kenny said, rest in peace to, and he's also the greatest defender at third base that we've ever seen. So, we always talk about Brooks Robinson with the glove, but we don't really talk about him too much with his offense, and it's not up there with the top 5 or 7 in third basemen, but he was a pretty good bat as well. And like Mickey said, you give him that many opportunities, a guy like that's going to eventually do something special like that.
Well, there's 2 things I like: 5-for-5 days and hitting for cycles, and that's where he checks the boxes there. George, we have one more topic to go, then we'll wrap it up.
Brooks is a great player. Always was one of my most admired from the other side, if you will. The Baltimore Orioles, of course, were great teams back in the day, and he was really good friends. And Scott, I don't know if you remember Fred Smith. Fred Smith was an author. He used to work for the Tigers. Yeah. And they wrote a book together, Brooks and Fred did, way back in the day. But yeah, Brooks is just a tremendous athlete and all around great major league player. It doesn't surprise me. So thanks for bringing this up. I appreciate going back in history on this date, like you said.
Well, on this date, September 3rd, 1995, Tony Fernandez hits for the cycle, and he did it with the Yankees. So this is the last thing we're going to talk about tonight before we wrap it up. What are your thoughts, TBK, about Tony Fernandez? And he did it with the Yankees. I saw him wearing the Yankee pinstripes.
Like I said, I'm going to have to defer on this one. I'm not for reasons, obviously, I'm not a Yankees fan, so I can't speak on it, but no
problem.
I appreciate it.
No problem. Candy?
It's awesome. I mean, anytime someone throws a no-hitter, it's time to celebrate, but kudos to him.
This guy hit for the cycle.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hit for the cycle. Sorry.
Same thing.
That's a bigger accomplishment. I don't know if it's a bigger accomplishment, but it's a huge accomplishment because it's something you don't see very often. So kudos to him.
All right, Skip.
Yeah, Tony was an exciting player. I loved watching him play. I remember him really standing out, when I'd watch baseball back in the day. He could run, he could kind of do it all. So for him to hit for the cycle, he's not one of the ones he's not Brooks Robinson caliber in my mind, but he was a great player. He could run really well, and he was exciting. So for someone to hit for the cycle like that's always fun to watch. And to do it as a Yankee, I'm sure he's, in the record books, as there hasn't probably been many Yankees that have done that.
Great points. Chris?
I think there's only one since Fernandez. I think Melky did it a few years ago. Yeah. Other than that, I think that was it. But, I mean, yeah, like Mickey said, when he was with Toronto, great shortstop there. And when the Yankees got him, whenever you hear Tony Fernandez and the Yankees connected, if he didn't get hurt in 1996 before the season started, the Derek Jeter era might not have started right away, right? Because when Fernandez went down, the big thing was they were thinking of trading Rivera for I think it was Felix Fermin from the Mariners, and Torrey and Gene Michael was like, no, we could go with Derek Jeter. We could go with this kid. We trust him. And the rest is history, as they say, right? The kid wins Rookie of the Year and becomes one of the greatest players that ever played. But that's the Tony Fernandez connected to the Yankees is connected to Derek Jeter.
George, quick thoughts, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, Tony Fernandez, so sad he's gone already. I mean, I had forgot that he passed away at age 57. Batting average 288, 2,200 hits in his lifetime. Always a very consistent player, always very well ready to play wherever he played, and he played on a number of teams. But I remember him most with the Yankees and Toronto, and 5-time All-Star too. So, boy, yeah, that's a great achievement he had there. Yep, definitely on this day.
Okay, so as we wrap this show up, I got about 2 minutes ago. Just a reminder, on Saturday, Mickey Callaway and I will have Talking Baseball. Ryan will be on with us as well. And, of course, tomorrow, Professor and the Pupil, as well as Fire Up, led by Candy. Chris, real fast, how can people get a hold of you?
At NYMLB Talk, will be Friday night. Just a quick shout-out. Friday night, we're going to have a Mets puppet on with us, so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to go. I have no idea how it's going to go, but I'm curious to see. But you can get me at NYMLB Talk, at Liftoff Jets. I do a Jet football podcast. Also, Flight Club football with TBK, and Rob will be joining us soon. That's on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, so look for me there.
All right, George, real quick. You have a book.
Yeah. You can follow me on the pages of the South Florida Tribune, the website, under the contributors section. I write for the Detroit Monitor locally, and I also have a book that's out there. I'm not going to talk much about it, but you see there's a picture of it there. You can see the link at the end of my column. And reach me anytime you want on gicorn@yahoo.com.
All right. Go ahead, Ryan, and then Candy takes us home.
Like Chris said, follow me at Flight Club Football on YouTube, Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Follow me on Facebook, Ryan Familaro, or Instagram, TBK0892.
All right, Candy, take us home.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. The other panelist, George Eichhorn, wrote the foreword, talks about Scott's 40-plus years in the media business. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there's a plethora of other content. If you want to be a contributor, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to be an advertiser, you can always email us. You can always call Scott at 954-304-4941. One last fact. On today, back in 1970, September 3rd, 1970, Coach Vince Lombardi passed away. So rest in peace.
Thanks for bringing it up, Candy. All right, well, that does it for this edition of the Sports Exchange. On behalf of Jacob Christner, TBK, Candy, Mickey Callaway, Chris, and George, my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. Thanks to everybody who participated in the chat room. We will see you next Wednesday. Skip and I will see you on Saturday. I will be on tomorrow night, hopefully at around 8 o'clock for the Professor and People. Good night, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us. And I'll have a lot more off-the-wall facts next week. So if you thought I had a few good ones tonight, wait till you see what I'm cooking up next week. So take care, everybody. Great first act by Ryan. Good night, everyone. Bye now.
Bye-bye.